hello everyone. Great to have you back here at the stage for the final roundtable of today's event. As you just realized, I'm still live here in Berlin. Our guests in the panel discussion are joining digitally. And you should have met most of them, or actually all of them already throughout the event. Nevertheless, I will do a very brief introduction of everyone. Just checking if everyone is really there yet. I think we are still missing Daniel, but I will introduce the other ones first. So first of all, Hebe Verstappen, as head of Textile Lab Tilburg, leads an internationally renowned textile development space. Lucy Norris is an anthropologist and professor for material culture who moderated the panel Unlocking Talents today. And Marte Henschel from Sketch focuses on innovation processes and sustainability in the textile industry. She moderated the panel Boosting the Entrepreneurial Economy. From the TPL partners, right now we have Malte here. Malte Kirill-Blotsky is a group leader of the research group System on Flex at Fraunhofer Institute for Reliability and Microintegration. And Daniel, who will hopefully join us in a few minutes, but I will nevertheless introduce him already, is from Prototypes for Europe. He's also a TPL partner, and Prototypes for Europe is the follow-up institution of Fab Lab Berlin, and he's an open innovation expert. We also have my lovely colleague Carina Wirth in this round, and she will bring your questions into the roundtable discussion. So please now ask your questions into the chat parallel as I'm asking my first questions to the participants. So you still have a few minutes time to think of good questions, and then Carina will choose some and ask them to our guests here. So I have anyways prepared a question for each, or a little task for each participant. Marte, how did it go in your panel Boosting the Entrepreneurial Economy today? I would really be curious to hear about it. And yeah, maybe you can share us some insights from the panel and from the discussion afterwards.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for getting me involved in this really inspiring format. So I had the big pleasure to moderate the panel on boosting the entrepreneurial economy, and that was really insightful and inspiring, I have to say. We had Carina Wirth presenting two case studies, and Facundo Gutierrez also introducing a very different project that TPL was running with a couple of collaboration partners. And one of my key takeaways from that panel was the very interesting holistic approach of the TPL to research and development and to design. That is not only about designing applications, for example, or materials or products, or even services. It's also about designing a holistic support infrastructure, design processes, even design systems and methods. That was very interesting. Like a wish that was made by both speakers in my panel was that support programs, funding schemes, grants, but also in access to investment need to be rethought and redesigned to make it fit to those new ways of collaboration and those very hybrid results.
And just continuing on that point, do you think this concept, you're a real textile industry professional, obviously, do you think our concept has or addresses a real need in the industry? Do you think it has a chance to continue and be successful?
Yeah, definitely. I guess let's say the conventional structures like academia, research institutes, but also industry-run incubators, accelerators. They are very much needed, but they are lacking accessibility. So probably the most surprising and best outcomes or solutions that we need in the textile industry are not necessarily coming from those established, or can also come from those established institutional resources, but we need more democratized, accessible, and collaborative initiatives to bring certain concepts to life. So please move on, and please keep up the good work.
Thanks for that feedback. Yeah, we will definitely try. We all want to continue with this. I can see that Daniel is also in the round. You are a real expert in open innovation processes. And I would like to jump a little bit back to the first discussion today, the first interactive format, the future visioning of open innovation. How did that go? Can you give us a little sum up?
Yeah, so when it comes to, wir sprechen Englisch, ne?
Yes.
Yeah. So when it comes to summarizing the sessions, I'd say the one that you now mentioned is the most difficult for me to summarize. The other ones have been easier, easier because they have been more clear to me when it comes to the results and the takeaways for us as the Textile Prototyping Lab. This speculative session, what I took away was that similar to what Marta said, we are slightly ahead of, I guess, the mainstream development. Some of the things that we do might look a bit odd in terms of progressive textile projects. Some of these projects look a bit exotic and not really market ready or market relevant yet. But I think we all agreed in these first sessions that they will be relevant. One thing that was mentioned by Malte, I think, was the metaverse. I mean, this is a trending theme right now, but I think it is super important to mention that, it kind of shows that the digital physical connection is going to be more relevant in the future, and it's going to get deeper and more present in our daily lives even than today. And some of the products that we've been supporting with the Textile Prototyping Lab, and some of us have worked with, are more or less predestined to be relevant in this world. But then we all agreed that it's nothing we want to, just embrace uncritically, but that it also brings quite a few problematic implications. The idea that this digital physical world emerges more and more. So it could take different directions. That's what I took away. One thing, I think it calls for a responsible and engaged way of working with the infrastructure and tools that we have. And it sometimes still feels a bit weird and ahead of our time what we do. And I think this also is a reason for the funding issues Marta also mentioned quickly that we are all facing, that we know too many good projects, very promising approaches. Even here in the audience, I've seen a few startups most of us have worked with and met before, working on amazing solutions, but not as easy, they are not easy to fundraise, I would say, compared to digital business models. And these solutions deserve more funding, similar to, I guess, what the Worth project is doing, Reframe, so accelerator-like projects. Some of you are, I know, part of these consortia, but this is a takeaway, I would say. The trends ahead will definitely make it necessary to provide more funding like this. So project-based funding for progressive textile product development.
Yeah, I guess this is quite a big topic for a lot of those places. Also, I mean, we've visited a lot of these places, and yeah, different fab labs in Europe and open innovation spaces. So I think finance and economic situation is always quite a big topic. Hebe, you are running such a space professionally, probably not having that big challenge or not facing that big challenges in that context anymore. You are very successful, but in general, what do you think? What potentials of these untypical spaces and working methods, which can be found, for example, at the Textile Lab as well as at the TPL in a different way? What are the potentials, and yeah, can these tangible and accessible infrastructures eventually also revolutionize the textile industry?
Well, for us and for you all at the same time is most important thing. And what I see is when we work now with Studio Drift, sometimes we click somebody from the industry in, and then when we add them to the group and they listen to our discussions and they get more, how do you say that, begrip, more understanding about how long and how complicated and how many puzzle pieces there are. And for me, the Textile Museum, that's our luck, linking artists to these research and showing at the end what the potential is of this kind of long-term research is for us quite helpful, and support programs from the Netherlands are aware of the importance of the making industry, more I think than in Germany, when I listen to you.
Yeah, it seems like that really. Maybe we should use this as the chance to take a call on the funding authorities in Germany, because I know we were really like outsiders within the program with our yeah, very creative idea behind it. But yeah, I think there are clearly cultural differences.
Yeah, but the showing to the bigger public, to the end consumer, what the potential is, will put the industry over the border. We did a research about collecting energy from the sun, and it was staying in a prototyping phase, and we did not get the industry with us. But we did another project when we showed the possibility of, and it was really nice to see, and it was like, wow. And then we had three knitters and a weaver who wants to join and have that. Yeah, and an open mind and being open source is sometimes difficult for the industry still, in the Netherlands and also in Belgium.
I think not only there.
Yeah, so you choose one weaving company and then they want to have you like a whole signed contract that it's only them.
Yeah, no open innovation wanted. No. No. I have a very short question to Karina. Do we already have questions in the chat? Otherwise, just to plan the time for the other two panelists, or are there no questions?
So far, there are no questions, so you can go ahead.
I can go on. So Lucy, because I know you also have to leave us exactly at 3 o'clock. You moderated the panel Unlocking Talents. Of course, and we are all curious what the outcomes are. You are also a teacher, a professor, and actively engaged and involved with students every day, with design students and young talents every day. What do you think, does this hybrid model that we offer here, being placed between education, research and industry, also bring benefits to the students?
Yeah, thank you so much, Essie. So it's been a real pleasure to take part in today, and I think trying to sort of think about the very rich comments we've had so far in the last 2 or 3 contributions, my take on it. So we had 3 really great presentations. The first was Sarah Diaz, talking about a semester project with students that I came to some of the presentations for. So for me, it was already really interesting to see this development from the beginning to the end of the semester project within the TPL, where students were being encouraged to think about very sort of highly technical processes, but actually working really from quite a craft base. And how would they kind of bridge these two worlds? And I think one of the sort of questions and discussions that we had was about this idea of boundaries. So actually, as a teacher and somebody trying to manage one of those projects, you're at the same trying to open up these enormous possibilities and kind of push the student. Sarah was very clear on sort of how to try to push down those boundaries and encourage the students to go in any way that they wish to go, but at the same time, it's how to kind of give them the feeling of support, that they're actually being, actually held on the way to the path, down, finding their own path and achieving something by the end. And it was a really interesting discussion, really, about how to explore working in teams, how to explore collaborations with professionals and institutes in very different kinds of situations. And I think my own take on it was also how to manage uncertainty. So I think this is a really wonderful creative sort of space, and how as teachers and students, and probably as the research collaborators in the institutes, how can we manage that uncertainty? Nobody really knows where this is going to end up and what might happen. And the variety of projects was just enormous. I remember being really astonished by that. And we also had Camille talking about the TPL toolkit. So there's a totally new area for me that I knew very little about. And I just found that super interesting, this kind of building from a very small start, building with workshops, then coming back with the feedback, and then prototyping, and these sort of classic design steps where you end up with a very nice sort of modular system of building in sort of, I'm going to say Arduino, excuse me, because I know it's gone way beyond Arduino, how you build these kind of electronic capacities into textiles, whether garments or other kind of forms in our environments, and how that then takes a life of its own. So he finished by talking about the jacket in the Touch Tomorrow project, which was an electronic jacket that he and Sarah had worked on, which moved, the colors changed as the body moved wearing this jacket, and that was then opened up as something for teenagers to experiment with. So I think this also then comes back to the idea of boundaries, because actually you've created this system, you've shown it to people, and then you have to kind of launch it out there into the world to see where's it going to go. Is it going to become a sort of platform that will build and have its own life, and then will kind of feed back into that process? So that was, I think, really nice. In terms of thinking about this, again, this connection between a small seed project and then something that has a much bigger effect. And finally, Myers Hugman, I think, had engaged with the TPL through a masterclass, this sort of ability to use this very high-level technology, but actually their practice-based work is very grounded in natural dyeing, natural wools, natural substances, and then they started to push the boundaries of ideas of durability, of time, because they were weaving this pattern with some of the threads that are synthetically dyed, some are naturally dyed, and the idea, of course, is that they will then fade differentially to reveal a pattern. And I think, so really from moving, typically as an anthropologist, moving from space, we start to talk about time. So all of this is in the framework of kind of human connections and collaborations, this idea of boundedness and openness and the interplay between the two, and then the idea of time and durability, that immediacy of inspiration, and then the creation of something that really changes itself over time. Yeah, it was fun.
Great. That's a nice last sentence, because I know you have to leave now. Marta also had to leave at 3, so I don't want to bind you longer into this discussion. But thanks for this nice roundup of your panel and your thoughts. And see you soon in Weißensee then, I guess. Now it's already 3, but I would nevertheless like to ask my last question to Malte. We had some little technical issues, so maybe you can give us a few more minutes. So maybe we'll be 5 minutes later with the program. end. So Lucy already mentioned Camille, who is also a researcher at Fraunhofer IZM, where we actually are right now here. We decided to send this this event live from our lab location in here. And Malte, it was not planned to set up also kind of a central prototyping TPL lab here at your institute, but it just evolved throughout the project and throughout time. It's not very common for like renowned research institutes like the Fraunhofer IZM to have these kind of open labs that they open for the outside and it's like not totally open for the outside like fab labs, but still like we are working a lot here. We can bring project partners, do workshops here. We are sharing machines, and this is, I think, quite unusual for these institutes. Why did you do this? What is the benefit for institutes like yours to host these kind of spaces?
Yeah, hi Essie. Yeah, thank you for this question. I would say, first of all, for IZM, it's not completely uncommon because on the other side of the building, we have already established Startup Factory, which is basically low boundary, low threshold electronics manufacturing infrastructure for startups, etc. And then that we finally established the TPL at IZM was also, I have to say, a lucky coincidence because we actually got space. And I, for myself, found the idea very interesting, and that's why I promoted it so strongly. Because I think it's very in a super space to work creatively in a multidisciplinary environment. For example, with you guys and with all the others. And this is really boosting the developments, and it gives us new insights. We learn from you, you learn from us. And this open structure also helps to really accelerate also the development cycles. So for us, this is really a win-win. And I think I can not only speak for me, but also for my whole team who's involved in the e-textiles development. They are all very happy that we did this in the end. And I hope we can sustain it a while longer and let it grow. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we are working on it, right?
Yes, indeed, yeah.
Yeah. Carina, was there a really important question in the chat, or otherwise I would close the discussion round?
No, there was no.
Okay, so maybe everyone is full of inspiration. We had a very intense program and today, and coming to an end now. It was a lot of fun, and first of all, thanks to you guys here from the panel discussion, sharing your insights, recaps, and thoughts about the whole topic with us. And yeah, I'm going to wrap up the day now.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
Don't forget to collect everything you do from now on. So build a collection and make like registry everything you do, because I see so many labs that when they think of things they did like 7 years ago, they do not have anything about it anymore.
We are very systematic about this. We are very rigorous. We have the digital software, which is archiving everything, and we also have a physical archive. But I think that would be a great goal for the far future, building up our own Textile Prototyping Lab museum, maybe even, yes. Who knows? I think there are a lot of visions that we can still have and dreams. Sometimes they come true, right?
Yeah, you see it.
Yeah, so everyone, I really hope you enjoyed time with us. You gained new insights and inspiration. A big thank you goes to all the contributors, speakers, session hosts, panelists, moderators, and any other supporters in the background who made the event possible and turned it into a multifaceted experience for everyone. A very special thank goes to my co-host Lise and the whole team from State Berlin. Without you, this event would have not been the same, and it was a real pleasure to work with you. A big thank also goes to Linus behind the camera and screens, who had to manage a very complex setup today, and he did very well, and I'm happy everything went good. At this point, I would also like to one more time say thank you to the funding authorities, the German Ministry of Education and Research, and the program FutureTex, who supported and believed in our vision. And last but not least, my thanks go to all of you who listened, participated, and turned the event into a special experience for our whole team. This was the first time that we from the Textile Prototyping Lab hosted an event like this. But who knows, maybe not the last time. We hope you're curious how our journey continues, or even interested in becoming part of it, and becoming part of our journey in one or the other way. So, please, do you want to join me for saying goodbye?
Right, yeah, just jumping in the frame. Well, to thank you all for these very inspiring inputs of today, and to thank you, SE and the Textile Prototyping Lab team, for inviting the State team to work on this with you. So thanks from my side, from the side of Christina, Vicky, and Christiane. And yeah, the very last words go to you.
We hope to see you soon, the one or the other way. And goodbye. Have a nice afternoon.